sometimes as a startup getting into the market, we are eager to quickly get in, that sometimes our eyes are not open to some of the risk that we would or we tend to see.
Hey, welcome to the Fintech Frontlines by Cora. This podcast is a collection of timeless ideas on how to build, launch, and operate a fintech in Africa from the most experienced minds in African fintech. In this episode, Nelson, Head Banking as a Service and Fintech Integrations at FCMB, talks about balancing compliance and innovation. He discusses practical steps to stay innovative while being compliant with regulatory policies.
To avoid certain pitfalls, the first question I typically will ask myself, maybe coming from a product perspective and having done this across both sides of the world, both within the banking, the fintechs, and even consulting aspects, what kind of risk element is compliance trying to address? Because first you need to know what are the risk elements that needs to be covered here. Sometimes as a startup getting into the market, we are eager to quickly get in, that sometimes our eyes are not open to some of the risk that we would or we tend to see. I mean, when compliance is telling you, you must come up with the full KYC of everybody that you are going to be doing everything with. Man, it's easy for you to just ask yourself, why are they asking me for the full KYC? It's not see what I'm doing is something. It's not see if I am going to break a bank. It's not see if I'm going to put a gun on anybody's head or something. But you realize that it's until when certain kind of fraud or when certain kind of issues happen and you are being asked to provide certain information about certain things, that is when you begin to understand that compliance is very key. But another pitfall that I think startups face as well is, I'd like to come the angle of rigidity. So when you get to the middle stage and the long-term stage, you begin to realize that startups as they grow, because of compliance issues, because they are more regulated now, because they are more involved in one or two things that involves a bit more regulation, you now tend to see much more compliance. And with too much emphasis on compliance as a startup, that means that you are going to be defeating your innovative prowess. When I say too much compliance, now means that you have allowed the compliance that you have seen or has been said to now say you are not going to be able to innovate the way you should innovate. You've done something for the last 3 years, for the last 5 years. The technology space we are in now, things change practically every year, sometimes twice in a year. You've done this thing and it's working for you. Because of the fear of compliance, you tend to be a bit too rigid, because I don't want any compliance issue. I don't want to fine. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So that affects it. The other side again that is affected is the fact that we're not compliance at all too. So you get carried away with everything that you're not complying, and your compliance will now lead to fines. When it leads to fines, it leads to the two losses for you. The fine that is going to come from the regulator as a result of you not complying, and then the loss that is going to come as a result of you not paying attention to the fine details that you should have paid attention to when you were coming on board. So I think from those three angles as well, there is a lot that I think these are the major pitfalls that I think that compliance, non-attention to these things are actually going to affect.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fintech Frontlines. For businesses that are bullish on Africa, Cora provides all the support you need to start and scale with delightful payment products for collections, payouts, and settlements. Learn more at corahq.com.